From these freaky NBA minifigures to this scuffed Lego Skibbity toilet, these are the weirdest Lego items of all time. Let's kick things off with the Jeffrey and Friends Lego set. This was first released to the public in 2016, and it's safe to say that this thing is pretty scary looking. For those who don't know, Jeffrey is the mascot for a toy store called Toys R Us, and Lego wanted to make something in collaboration with the toy company. Usually Jeffrey looks like a happy-go-lucky giraffe who brings nothing but joy to the world, but when a Lego version was made, he turned into something out of a horror movie. There are a few other versions of Jeffrey that have been made over the years, but this one is by far the weirdest. Up next is the Nesquik Bunny minifigure, and no, I'm not talking about Bugs Bunny, I mean the original Nesquik Bunny from back in the day. At first glance, this minifigure doesn't look that weird. Like, sure, the headpiece looks a little funny, and something about his eyes definitely gives me the heebie-jeebies. But overall, there isn't that much wrong with it, until you take the mask off. The bunny's head is actually removable, and when what's under is revealed, it's a sight to see. Under the mask is a fully whited out minifigure head, with nothing but two eyes and a smile. The two eyes are positioned very far apart to accommodate for the mask, but let's be honest, we can all agree this was a bad idea. Those eyes are extremely creepy, and when they're together with the smile, it makes everything way worse. Like, why is the smile even there? It's not like you can see it while the bunny mask is on. It almost feels like it was put there as a joke by whoever designed it, and I thought Jeffrey was straight out of a horror movie. Up next, we have a Lego item that I honestly didn't even know existed before. Now, we all love Legos here, right? Well, have any of you guys ever wished that you could live as an actual Lego in the real world? Well, if you did, now you can. These are the iconic Lego hands, and they're used for exactly what they look like they're used for, whatever that is. In a practical sense, these things are basically useless. Lego hands were made to function with Legos, not with anything that happens in daily life. While Lego may have thought these were a fun idea, they ended up looking very odd, and they give off a really weird vibe that I can't quite put my finger on. I don't know, something about them kind of just freaks me out. Even though only 6 of these have sold in the past year, for some reason, other companies decided to make their own. Here's one from fun.com, and this one even comes with a minifigure head too. I wonder how you see out of that thing. For some reason, this is being sold for almost $50, while the originals on the Lego website retailed for just $13. Unfortunately, they're sold out right now, so if you want to look like my buddy Emmett, you're gonna have to cough up $50. Up next is this Lego Squidward minifigure from 2006. Wow, I have never in my life seen Mr. Tentacles looking so bad. Since the release of this minifigure, Lego has done a much better job of making Squidward look more like himself. But we're not here to talk about that. This atrocity was part of the Adventures in Bikini Bottom set, and is one of the 3 minifigures featured in the box. The other 2, of course, being SpongeBob and Patrick. Lego really dropped the ball on this one, and it's obvious. SpongeBob and Patrick look pretty much fine considering the time period these were launched, but Squidward really does just look awful. He really didn't deserve that after all SpongeBob and Patrick put him through. Come on, Lego. Up next is Chili the Horse from the Camping Trip set. This Lego set is pretty old, so odds are you haven't met my friend Chili over here, but let me tell you, she is one of the most terrifying things I think I've ever seen. I mean, why would Lego make a horse in the first place, let alone one that looks so realistic? Lego has been able to make horses that look somewhat normal since Chili first saw the light of day, but unfortunately, they just couldn't make it work 25 years ago. Up next is one of the cutest little guys ever from the Star Wars franchise. These are called Porgs, and they were first seen in Episode 7, The Return of the Jedi. Star Wars fans immediately took a liking to them, so of course, Lego had to add them to their collection. I hate to say it, but they didn't do a very good job. The set they decided to release was this, and for a set solely dedicated to Porgs, Lego really should have done a better job. And it's not like they haven't before. This style of Lego set has become very popular over the years. Like this one. Lego did an incredible job recreating a helmet from the most iconic bounty hunter in the series. Or this one. This is another great example of the guys over at Lego putting their heads together and ending up with a great product. I could go on forever about how much better sets in this style are when compared to the Porg, but I don't want to be too much of a negative Nancy. I just want the best for you, Lego. Up next is this very odd looking Super Mario piece. This version of Mario is part of the Adventures with Mario set, which was actually released pretty recently. The set dropped in July 2020 and is still available for purchase today. But let's be honest, with Mario looking like that, I think these sets are just going to continue to sit on the shelves. I'm not too sure what LEGO thought they were doing with this one, but it's clear not too much thought went into it. The idea behind the set is actually really cool. It showcases a small-scale Mario level that you might find in a game like New Super Mario Bros. Wii. There's also a little Goomba and Bowser Jr. waiting for you at the end of the course. Honestly, everything looks really cool besides the character models. I feel like this set would look a lot less weird if they made the set more miniature and just had Mario as an actual minifigure instead of whatever this is. The same could be said for Bowser Jr. He looks just as awkward as Mario does and isn't doing the set any favors. While the idea behind this operation was very cool, the execution was not as good as it could have been. Hopefully they take this as constructive criticism and make the next Mario set the best thing ever. Up next is something so out of the ordinary I didn't even know it was real. This is the NHL Slammer Stadium set, released in 2003. Take a look at this set. Something seem off? Yeah, you're telling me. What is up with these hockey players? They look like they're straight from Easter Island. Anyways, this set is basically just a little ice hockey rink with some weird looking players. But there is something that's actually really cool about it. This set came with a mini Lego hockey puck, so if you wanted to, you could simulate a hockey game with a Lego set. I don't know though, I'm not too sure I want these guys playing on my team. Up next is not one, not two, but an entire army of Lego Skibbity toilets. No, seriously, look at this. Made by Brickfolk, these are just a couple of the dozens of Skibbity toilets that have been made. Every single one of these is a 3D model, and while they may just be concepts, it's safe to say that they definitely deserve a spot on our weird list. I mean, like, look at this one. The fact that this could actually be recreated in real life is insane to me. I really hope I don't run into this army one day. Up next is the best Astro Droid in the whole galaxy, R2-D2. Now, before you jump to any conclusions, just give me a little time to explain. In no way am I saying that every Lego R2-D2 unit looks weird, because that is absolutely not the case. To be honest, the minifigures are some of my favorites. The R2 unit that I'm referring to is the 8009 Lego Star Wars Technic R2-D2. See, I told you this one was weird. And when compared to the remake released in 2012, this one is, well, just plain weird. There are 240 pieces, but for some reason, it just looks really empty. There are holes throughout the entire piece, and where there aren't holes, there are huge color blocks that aren't coordinated very well. While this set may resemble R2-D2, it definitely doesn't embody him. Is that eye creeping out anyone else? It goes for around $60 new in the box, and considering it was released over 20 years ago, that is a really bad price. Most Lego sets that came out that long ago have an insanely high price nowadays, especially if they've been kept in the packaging all this time. But not this guy. Unfortunately for him, he's the weirdest looking of the bunch, and for that reason, nobody really wants to buy him. I can't say I blame them though. The new one is just so much better. Up next is something that I really hope all of you can remember. If not, we might have a serious problem. Did you guys read Calvin and Hobbes as a kid? Well, little did I know, they actually collabed with Lego at one point and had their own sets made. Look at these guys. Aren't they so cool? Kidding, guys. Kidding. Lego, how could you do this to the best kid-tiger duo of all time? Calvin and Hobbes was the best thing ever to me when I was younger, and for one of my favorite toy companies to go and do this to them, I don't even know how to react. This set is part of the Brickheads theme, which has a history of making some very odd-looking sets. It seems like the goal of the Brickheads theme is to achieve this look, but I feel like they just end up looking bad as opposed to unique. Like, take a look at these. Darth Vader, Goofy, Sonic. They all look super weird. Listen, all I know is that Lego has a really good thing going on with minifigures, so maybe they should just stick to that. And don't even get me started on what they did to my guy Yoda. This isn't a part of the Brickheads theme, but I think we can all agree he is not looking too good here. Why is he looking at me like that? Up next, let's look into the Lego NBA theme. Lego has been making basketball items for a long time now, with the first being the Penn basketball back in 2001. In 2002, they decided to start releasing actual sets for the basketball line, so of course they had to have some minifigures in there. However, this proved to be a little difficult for them to pull off. Here's a picture of one of the minifigures from 2002. See anything wrong? Well, I sure do. This guy's face is completely messed up. These minifigures were made in honor of some of the best basketball players of that era, but for some reason, Lego thought it would be a good idea to just add facial features right onto the head of the minifigures. They already had enough going with the number and the jersey name, but for some reason, I guess they wanted to do this too. When changing the facial features on a minifigure, it only really works when you completely change the headpiece that's being put onto the actual minifigure's body. For example, Squidward. Notice how they made his head look how it's supposed to instead of just slapping his face onto a regular old minifigure head? They made this mistake with literally every basketball minifigure from that time period. Take a look. We got Allen Iverson, Antoine Walker, Allen Houston, Chris Webber, Jason Kidd. They even did it to the default basketball minifigures. I guess maybe they were trying to change their style to see what people would like? I don't know, but I have to give it to them. These minifigures are pretty popular, but I can't help but think they're giving me a weird look. Okay, brace yourself, because this next item is really creepy. This is the LEGO Friends Buildable Hedgehog Storage Set, released in 2017, and it is by far one of the weirdest LEGO sets I have ever seen in my life. For starters, let's just take a look at it. This thing is composed of pieces that are in no way capable of making a detailed version of a hedgehog. Secondly, it feels like this thing is literally alive. I don't know why, but LEGO decided to make the eyes look very human. I swear it's looking at me. And then to top it all off, they give it a little pink and blue bow on its head. And I'm sure they were just trying to make it look cute, but for me, it just made it look all the more horrifying. I'm not done yet though. Along with everything I just listed, apparently this set is meant to be able to store something. There is no way that I would be able to trust this hedgehog with any of my belongings. Like, just look at it. You're telling me it wouldn't do something to them? Thankfully, LEGO made up for it and made a hedgehog that actually looks normal. So if you ever wanted a LEGO hedgehog, I'd go with this one if I were you. Last but not least, we have the LEGO System McDonald's Restaurant Set. This is a tiny 98-piece LEGO set released in 1999 that was meant to replicate a McDonald's drive-thru, coming with 2 minifigures and this cool little car. But let me tell you, this set is just downright weird. Even just based on how the box looks, I'd be uneasy. Like, come on. You're telling me when you roll up to a McDonald's to get your Oreo McFlurry, this is what you want to see? This McDonald's looks straight out of a horror movie, I swear. I would expect the worker to pop out at me if my McDonald's looked like this. Despite being only 98 pieces, the set manages to sell for a whopping $300. That's literally $300 a piece. I don't know who let that happen, but I definitely need to have a word with them. Let me know what your favorite item was in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.